What is hydrofoil surfing and how to foil surf safely? Water sports, as incredibly versatile as they are, evolve continuously and improve or completely new approaches to surfing or paddleboarding are invented, leaving their fans super excited to learn new skills. And so, here we are talking about one of the latest inventions that can change surfing forever. And that's the hydrofoil surfing. What is hydrofoil surfing? Foil surfboards give you access to new waves and offshore surf breaks that you cannot usually catch with a regular surfboard. New water terrain that had never been explored before is now available. And it's so exciting to know that an invention like this, the foil surfboard, redefined what we considered to be a rideable wave. And the reason why experienced surfers often say that about hydrofoil surfing is that it basically does not require a big wave to get going. In some sort, foil surfboarding is like controlled aquaplaning. It gives you an effortless glide above water that no board can provide otherwise. What is a hydrofoil surfing board? Another question I often get is, what is a hydrofoil surfing board, and how does it work? When you attach a hydrofoil under a board that extends the board into the water, you get a foil board or a hydrofoil surfing board. When the board gains speed, the hydrofoil lifts the surfboard or kiteboard slightly above water because of the kinetic energy that is being produced. But wait, what is a hydrofoil? A hydrofoil is basically a fin with wings that long and hydrodynamically designed for this purpose specifically. This way, the friction is reduced to a minimum, which allows you to angle at 90 degrees in less than a second. How does the hydrofoil surfing board work? Namely, because the foil is located on the rear end at the back of the board, after taking off and standing on your feet. You can go faster and elevate higher by leaning on the back foot. This way you are tilting the wing upright. On the other hand, by leaning on your front foot, you dive underwater and decrease the elevation of your hydrofoil surfing board. Therefore, finding balance in your stance is crucial in learning to control your e-foil board. The takeoff is key. When you are surfing on a regular surfboard, you take off at the crest of the wave and ride it down on the face, setting set up for a bottom turn. With a hydrofoil surfing board, this is very different. Namely, you shouldn't be anywhere around a high wave and its top when you take off. You need to get down the face of the wave, paddling like it's a 15-footer, and lean completely forward when you take off, something that would typically lead to a nosedive. However, when riding waves on a e-foil board, it is almost impossible to pearl. This is because the entire speed is at the top of the swell. So, when you are surfing on a regular board you paddle and wait for the speed at the top, and then drop in. However, on a foil if you try to do that, the wing will come out at the top of the swell. And that's no good. This is why you would want to paddle and stand up mid-face or even below. With a hydrofoil surfing board you can even catch the whitewater because thanks to its mechanism, you cannot and don't have to be high on the wave when you stand up. It's basically as if you want to take off with the intention of nosediving. Something that could potentially ease things up for you and help you learn a bit faster is by towing behind a boat or jet ski in the open ocean or a lake. How do you use an e-foil? If you have never done any surfing or paddleboarding before, I wholeheartedly encourage you to start with that prior hydrofoil surfing. Not because this is extremely hard to master but simply because those two will teach you how to feel the board and control it better before stepping on a foil surfboard. But if you do have some experience or you simply want to start with hydrofoil surfing right away, then start by getting a feel for the board and the hand controller first. And how do you do that? Simply by lying down on the board. This way, you get to know its size and how it feels to be on it. Then, as you feel more comfortable, slowly begin to ride on your knees. As you master the knee riding, start to ride it by standing up slowly. Now, as you are standing up, work on getting comfortable for the ride under your feet and start exploring the different stances and when you are most comfortable in. In all cases, do not try elevating until you feel comfortable and well balanced on the board. Begin to lift by gradually and slowly accelerating and shifting your weight back. Do this until you get the hang of it and feel balanced. While lifted, do not tense your body in any way. I understand that the feeling of flying over water is a foreign and strange experience to most. So your initial reaction will be to tense at first but focus on the placement of your feet and try to relax all your muscles as much as you can. How do you lift off the water? To lift means to elevate the board above water in order to fly over water, while allows you to surf on any type of waves. In order to start lifting the foil surfboard, you will need to place your weight on your back foot. This will allow the board to lift off the water or exit the water and lift you with it. However, once it is lifted, you will need to immediately shift your weight forward so that you balance it out and fly smoothly above water. To remain flying on the water, you need to be above a certain speed at all times. However, remember that you cannot immediately start flying, or start lifting, but you need to do it slowly and gradually. For this, you shouldn't push the throttle all the way down. But instead, you should gradually increase the speed so that you gain enough speed over time to elevate in a stable manner. Once you get elevated, keep that speed until you feel comfortable enough to increase. Important thing to remember is that when increasing speed, you will turn more seamlessly once you are lifted. So, you have to be extra careful as to where you are looking and where you are turning your body towards, since the e-foil board will follow. In the end, when you want to stop the foil surfboard, you simply let go of the throttle. When you feel that you've lost balance past the point of correcting yourself and you are going to fall into the water, simply let go, but try to jump away from the board and foil. In the beginning there will be more situations like this, so don't try to correct your stance or balance to avoid falling. Just let it happen. Otherwise, you risk crashing into your equipment and experiencing the dreaded kickflip. Gradually, as you practice more and more, you will find an easy way to fall off into the water and get back up. But until then, remember to jump off and away from the foil surfboard. And no matter how many times you fall off, it's all part of the experience. Where can you buy a foil surfboard? There are several manufacturers of ready-to-use foil surfboards, and there are many tutorials on how to construct one yourself. However, I have to mention that there are two types of foiling on the market. Surf foiling. The boards for prone hydrofoil surfing are usually quite bulky. This is because you need a lot of volume for the first few paddles and in order to get into the wave early. That said, a hydrofoil surfing board is much stiffer so that it can allow for a direct feel of the foil and efficient pumping. Kite foiling. As for the surf foiling, the kite foiling boards also do have some volume to ease up the takeoff. For this, the carbon fiber material is the best because it offers the optimal balance between weight and stiffness. How difficult is foil surfing? It is universal that beginnings are hard, but you will progress at a much faster rate. Consistency and patience are the most important things overall for anything that you are trying out for the first time. Are hydrofoil surfing boards dangerous? I don't want to frighten you away from hydrofoiling, but you just have to be aware of the dreaded kickflip. When you get to stand up and lift off on your hydrofoil surfing board, the first few tries before you learn how to control it, it will lift faster than you think. At that point, you might try to control it, but you won't always succeed in the beginning. This is when you need to keep your board down, flat on the water, not letting it fly. As you speed up, you will feel as if someone is lifting you out of the water, so you have to have a firm, balanced stance in order to control it. Namely, the dreaded kickflip is when your foil surfboard lifts off the water at the top of a wave and breaches violently, flipping onto its side. At that moment, you will proceed falling down, potentially landing on top of the board and the metal hydrofoil. But as they say, prevention is the best medicine. How do you avoid the kickflip and keep the board as far from your face as possible? The key lies in your front foot. As I said before, transferring your weight on the back foot will lift and speed up the foil board. Entering the water and paddling out. When entering the water, hold the board like a standard surfboard, and grab the foil's wingtip with the other hand. When you are in chest-deep water, start paddling out like if you do on a regular board. Foils create extra lift and will project you through the waves so that duck diving will be effortless. Pop up and ride. As you spot an incoming wave, start paddling until you catch it. The takeoff process on a hydrofoil surfing board is identical to that of surfing. When you stand up on your feet, apply a little bit more pressure on your front foot as the wave gets steeper. When you have your traction pad installed in the right place on the hydrofoil surfing board, you won't have to think twice about where to put your foot down. Conclusion. Of course, in the beginning, hydrofoil surfing will seem a lot different than regular surfing because of the difference in the stance and the wave catching in general. On a foil surfboard, you adopt a squat stance while keeping your chest vertical and your shoulders wide open, so that you maintain the right balance, and you don't fall. But don't worry, even if all these seem pretty confusing, hydrofoil surfing is relatively straightforward once you get the hang of it. StandUpPaddleboardWorld.com